it's good to be here. Henry came to me a couple of years ago, concerned about the direction of this country. And it was a very valid concern. He's very well read and very knowledgeable, and it's good to see that he's leading this group. Nell Brandon and I used to be cases at Conway years ago, back when I had dark hair and she had darker hair. The Tea Party is a movement whose time has arrived. It's an important movement because at this time, this nation needs good economic policy. We need good fiscal policy from Congress, and we need good monetary policy from the Fed. And right now, I don't think we're getting good anything from either group. It's a problem. It's a major concern. The Democrat Party and its base have dictated basically a socialist economic model. The socialist economic model did not work in the Soviet Union. It did not work in North Korea. It did not work in Cuba. It did not work in Hungary, where George Soros is from. And it did not work anywhere. But they are basically trying to push a socialist economic model. Fortunately, they're not pushing the political model that those countries follow. Too often, the Republican Party, and I'm a Republican, has failed to muster the strength to offset the efforts of the Democratic Party. I think it's a failure of the Republican Party, and I think that's the reason that the Tea Party has been so successful. This is our nation. It was given to us by our forefathers over 200 years ago, and it was handed off to us by our parents. And my parents were part of the greatest generation that went through the Depression. It had a big impact on my parents. And then they went through World War II, and they've given us some major advantages by giving us this country that we have. And we've got a responsibility to make sure we don't blow what they've done. This is not the nation this nation does not belong to George Soros, who is from communist Hungary and is a great promoter of the current occupant of the White House. He's made a lot of money because he bankrupted the bank, almost bankrupted the Bank of England on an economic issue, currency trade. This is not the country of bin Laden, who is currently fish bait, and I think that's a good place for him to be. This country is a country of people who work, who pay taxes, who take care of their parents, their children, and their family. They do not look to the government for all solutions and all donations and all gifts. So what are the problems in Washington? Well, I understand I have 3 hours to talk, and I'll go through all those problems. The first year that I was in Congress, I was elected in 96, in Congress in 97 for the first year, we passed the Balanced Budget Act. And there were a lot of cuts there that affected a lot of groups in this country. Had some major cuts in health care. I hated to come back and face the doctors and my patients because I know there were going to be some cuts. But Medicare survived, the economy survived, and we had 4 to 6 years of good economy in spite of having a Democrat president that had just been reelected in 96, who was a big spender, and in spite of having a Republican who was elected in 2000, who was also a big spender in Texas and here in this country as well. But for that 4 to 6 years, we had a strong economy, largely because we had a balanced budget. The balanced budget must be brought back to this country. I can tell you this, every American benefited from that balanced budget for that 4 to 6 years that we had the balanced budget. Well, why did we have the economic insanity that went on in 2009 and 2010 after the Democrats took over the House, the Senate, and the White House? We had economic insanity during that time period because these people that were in control of both houses of Congress and the White House made political decisions and not economic decisions. And these are problems that we're going to have to live with for many years to come. So why do so many presidents and so many Congresses, and I was there for the 105th, 6th, and 7th Congress, make bad economic decisions? It's because these groups are tone deaf to the people that work in this country, that pay taxes, that do things that are right for the economy, and they just ignore them. They don't really care because that group is a diminishing group in this country. There are a lot of us that have there are a lot of you in this audience that have the right color hair, and we have paid our dues. We have worked, and we've paid into retirement. We've paid into Social Security. But there are groups out there now that are doing nothing to contribute to the economy. The other reason they make these insane decisions is because when they vote, they don't have the courage to vote what's right from an economic standpoint. Unfortunately, there are a lot of very average members of Congress out there. They're very average people. I've met people, there's some wonderful people in Congress that try to do the right thing, that are principled people and understand the economic issues. But then there are people up there that were in both parties, and I wonder how they got elected in the first place and how they get reelected. And I'll name names. Most of these people have never had an economics course, nor have they had an accounting course. They should have, and yet they're making economic decisions. You do know what an economist is, don't you? An economist is somebody that's good with numbers but does not have enough personality to be an accountant. The Democrat Party is dysfunctional because it expects working people to support all of its social programs for the able-bodied people who are young enough and healthy enough to continue working but are not contributing a thing to the economy. There is a precedent that started after George Washington. That precedent was that we would have a two-party system. And we've had it, and it's had some good days and some bad days. But we will continue to have a good two-party system in all likelihood. But right now, today, if either the Tea Party can continue to build, or the Republican Party, or even the Democrat Party can begin to focus on economic issues and realize the importance of them, that party that chooses that path can be the party that becomes the dominant party, because it will do more for more Americans and more for the long-term future of this country. So what do we need to do? We need to kick those people out of Congress who are tone deaf to the people that work, that pay taxes, that do the right things for this country. We need to boot out those people that are members of Congress who only respond to people that are looking for another program, another handout, and have not contributed to the economy in the past and do not intend to contribute to it.